One of the things I love doing is having conversations with people, couples, whether they be young or old, and just having a conversation with them about the subject of home ownership, mortgage debt, just to get their idea on sort of how they see things. And one question that I actually absolutely love asking people that are in mortgage debt or who are looking to get into mortgage debt, and that's why are you looking to buy a house, or why did you buy a house? Recently, I've had a few conversations with people who have either just got into home ownership, someone else who is just in the process of building, and another person who is weighing up the options, saving up a deposit at the moment, sort of trying to figure out what their next move is. And it's really interesting. A couple of things are quite evident when I do talk to young couples, and it's only young couples. I've yet to talk to a single person who's looking to get into mortgage debt. And when I talk to these couples and ask them, why are you looking to purchase a home? Uh, for some reason, I've got one of two reasons. In fact, in a lot of the conversations, the two reasons have been very prominent. And reason number one is that they're ticking the box. They talk about, the right thing to do, or the next progression, so to say. And the second reason is they're watching a lot of people and comparing sort of where they are now and looking at other people and thinking to themselves, why aren't they there? I I don't like those two reasons being the reason why people are looking to get into home ownership. And I need to make myself clear because I may come across as someone who's trying to demonize home ownership. I'm not trying to demonize home ownership. Look, if you aspire for home ownership, if it's something that you really well and truly want, seriously go for it. I'm not going to be the person to tell you what you should or shouldn't do. All I'm doing is that I'm trying to bring a little bit of balance to the conversation. It's a very common conversation, the idea of property and home ownership, something that I guess a lot of people have grown up to accept it's something you sort of have to do. You're talking about like, getting married, having kids, owning a home, sort of part of that equation. So I'm not negative on home ownership, but what I am really, I guess, I don't want to say negative, but one of the things that I really do sort of want to bring up and talk about is reasons why people are getting into home ownership and why they shouldn't be getting into home ownership. So, reason number one that I mentioned, the right thing to do. Um, Once upon a time, the right thing to do was to go to school, get an education, get a good job. That seemed to be the norm once upon a time. That's changed now. It's changed a lot, actually, when you consider how we've advanced with like technology, the internet, the access to information. So, to say that home ownership is the right thing to do or the next progression, I think we've got to stop saying that, stop using that sort of terminology around it. And what we've also got to do is what we've also got to remember is that you know we're we're telling young Australians or anyone actually when it comes to home ownership, we're telling them to do something based on what is happening now instead of understanding that we're not going to know what home ownership looks like in another 10, 20, 30 years time. I mean, things are changing even now in 2020. You think about all the co-working spaces that are sort of popping up. It's going to come a point where the office space that companies had is just going to be a thing of the past, and they're just going to have these sort of one-stop places that they can go to do their work and then just go home, not even have a company office. So we've got to keep that in mind that um, later on down the track, home ownership may look different. I don't know what it's going to look like, but that's another thing that we've sort of got to think about when we're telling people this idea of, the right thing to do or the next progression. And reason number two is just something that I'm really big on in general, and that's just not worrying about other people, not worrying about the judgment of other people, because with the young couples who are looking to get into mortgage debt or who are wanting to buy a home, whose driver to get into home ownership is because they're looking at other people, family members, friends. And I guess the problem, not so much a problem, but we do have social media where a lot of people do post a lot of their personal stuff these days. And for a lot of people, when they're seeing people posting pictures of them in front of a house, in front of the sold sign, and I guess they're looking at that and seeing how happy they are, and them talking about it. And I don't know if it's insecurity or just that FOMO, that fear that they're missing out or getting left behind. Um, that's just something that, and it's easy for me to say as someone who's learnt um, to not worry about judgment or what other people think about me. And for some people, that can be quite hard. And when when you see people on social media, when you see your friends, when they have these, I guess, wonderful lives of, owning a home, having kids, and all that kind of stuff, a lot of the time we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't know the links that that particular person went in order to buy the home. And so there's so much that, if that is one of the reasons why you're looking to get into home ownership, the whole missing out, getting left behind, you need to put things into perspective. You need to not worry about what they're doing. You got to think to yourself, what is it that you want, and not worry about what other people are having. Because for those people, they may have wanted home ownership, and that's good for them. But for you, if you were to actually sit down and maybe have a discussion with your loved one, or even if you're looking to get into it by yourself, just to sit down with a professional and just talk about I guess the way that you get into it, and I guess what it looks like later on down the track, like calculators and that you can use, you may actually realize that home ownership may not actually be for you. It may not be something that is something that you actually want, and you're quite happy with your life the way it is, and home ownership isn't part of it. But in saying that, there's nothing wrong with not buying a home now and later on down the track all of a sudden having that feeling that, hey, I want to buy a home, and that's fine. It's not a race, like houses are always going to be there. You just got to take your time, not worry about what other people are doing, and just start focusing on yourself and just doing the things that you want. And if home ownership isn't what you want, then all power to you. If home ownership is what you want, go for gold. So look, that's just a little bit of what I've been able to talk to a few people about, and just what I wanted to share here. So look, like to know your thoughts, if you can let me know. So